Hi there. Welcome to this lecture on the language and risk communication, and I'm looking forward to talking a little bit about James Paradis's Text in Action, Operator's Manual in Context and in Court, and then Bev Sauer's article on the écriture masculine of science and technology, sexual dynamics of language. And I'll just try to give a little bit of context and pose some questions. So, for Paradis, the question about the manual centers around the mediation of technology and human beings by text. Technology, human beings. Text being charged with embodying elements of technology and elements of human need. And that mediation, that embodying of the elements of technology in words, that say how to apply that technology, the text itself, gets disrupted by the complexity of human need and human reason, and then the static nature of the text itself. Choose open from the file menu never changes, but the reason to choose open from the file menu changes all the time because nobody has the same way or reason for doing one thing or another. And so the dynamic nature of human beings and their needs, static nature of what you write down, and the words you use make a difference. They cause a problem, which he calls the problem of objectivity, the gap. Implicit in this perspective is that the text itself is objective, and that's where he goes wrong. In Sauer's eyes, I believe, opens him up to a feminist critique, which really helps us look at more aspects of language than we may look at just in terms of this little triangle model of technology, human beings, and the text bringing them together. Sauer critiques what she calls this mechanistic or objective perspective by what she calls a feminist or a subjective perspective. Her point, as I see it, is that texts that use the language of oppressive discourse are inherently ambiguous and flawed. And if we could put it in some way, the reason why the accident happened with the stud gun in that use might have had something to do with the cavalier attitude of male domination that was implicit in the language itself of the work, and might have caused, because it reinforced the we can do anything kind of attitude of that écriture masculine. Roughhousing might have occurred, or something might have occurred that was dangerous. Nevertheless, to boil it down for you, you can boil it down your own way if you want. The article gives us warrant then to look at another aspect of discourse, that of the implicit power situations that are inherent in the language itself. Sauer argues that scholars, this is on page 319, should conceptualize a new discourse of technology and a new discourse of scholarship, changing the whole purview of language and writing, based on images of collaboration and cooperation rather than on images of sexual mastery, domination, or power. So if you take these two world views and oppose them, feminist critique is going to urge a discourse of cooperation and collaboration as opposed to one of mastery, domination, power, authoritarianism, and so forth, objectivity. And we're going to see another perspective on that when we read the article by Graves next week, but I guess that as we move forward in exploring risk communication, we should consider the discourses that are reflected in the materials we read about consumer products, about environmental change, about global warming, and about risk advisories. That's one takeaway from this controversy, is that we can look at the nature of the language itself. The other, I think, okay, and what others can we identify in our next reading on the challenges of language choice in technical documents? So the article we're going to read for next week is part of the conversation going on about these language elements. I think it's important for us to look at them. I think we'll find an opportunity to reflect back on this controversy as we move forward in the course. So that said, I'll be back with another video lecture for next week.